Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bitcoin Not Crypto. My name is Forrest Stevens, and today I'm going to be talking about the new Bitcoin treasury companies coming out here that you should be a little bit cautious about. It doesn't really change a business to adopt a Bitcoin strategy. I know that might sound counterintuitive because there's a lot of Bitcoin treasury companies out there that are great and ones that I invest in personally, but really it is just changing the unit of account that they save in, which is great, but it still needs to fundamentally be a business with growth prospects to acquire more Bitcoin. So you have to be understanding that it needs some forward PE, basically. Uh, Before I get into that, though, I want to tell you about Bitcoin Well, which is where I get all of my Bitcoin. I buy cold storage Bitcoin. It's my main holding, and I do so through this website. The reason I do that is because they're a non-custodial exchange, which means when you send them money, they send you Bitcoin directly to your hardware wallet or over the Lightning Network. They also have the lowest spread in the US and Canada for a non-custodial exchange. They have non-KYC options, and they have a reward system. If you use my link in the description, you'll get some free points that goes towards their Wishing Well reward system that actually gives you free Bitcoin. So use my code, get free Bitcoin. Win-win. Thanks, everybody. So on to the topic today. I'm going to be talking about Matador Technologies, ticker symbol MATA, MATA, on the Toronto Stock Exchange Ventures Fund. It just came out not too long ago, December 23 or 24, basically, is what it's showing here on the chart. But Bitcoin Magazine released a news article about Matador adding Bitcoin to its balance sheet on December 23rd. And if you go to Mata's website, they also have a press release for that on the 23rd as well. This is the press release that they screenshotted to release that news article. Now, what's interesting about this here is that they're basically like a brand new like startup kind of thing. There's a bit of discrepancy with some of the information going on here. I'm seeing that this ticker traded in May of 2023 at really low prices at like 12 to 22 cents. So this still is a penny stock by all means, right? It's trading now at 60 cents and it had a high of 89 or 90. And if you look at the information here on TradingView, it actually says that this company was founded on December 12th. So 11 days after it was founded, it was registered onto the Toronto Stock Exchange. Now, if we look at some additional information, that isn't actually the case, though. Now, what's interesting here is that there's actually this news article from May 21st, 2024, which discloses that the company UTXO Management invested $3 million in Bitcoin and crypto-related assets to Matador. So this was long before this announcement by Bitcoin Magazine. This was in spring of 2024. Now, the reason I talk about being cautious about this is because there's a little bit of discrepancy with that. Like, did they take that $3 million and buy Bitcoin with it, or did they raise an additional 4.5 million? It's just a little bit unknown what this company's actually worth. I also want to kind of explore deeper what I said at the beginning here. When a company puts Bitcoin on their balance sheet, they get an immediate price appreciation because of that. And when that happens, it's because people that are Bitcoiners basically, that are playing the stock market, they see what that's done for companies like Metaplanet, MicroStrategy, Semler, and they think, okay, well, maybe I'll jump onto this smaller company. It's kind of like a small cap, right? It's like kind of like trading altcoins at this point, but it's trading Bitcoin treasury companies. So it's saying, okay, well, if I buy into this small cap Bitcoin treasury company, then it really doesn't need as much capital to move the price up in a higher percentage. And that's really what matters in investing, is a percentage gain on your investment. Can be true, but what that kind of can lead to is scenarios of rapid price appreciation, and then people that are holders can sell to those new buyers. This happens in the altcoin scene and they're called pump and dumps. Now, I'm not saying Mata is a pump and dump, and actually you can see the price has held up fairly well in this consolidation round area of around, 50 to 65 cents, right? It had this massive spike when it initially got news that they bought Bitcoin, and then it's kind of fallen off and just trading sideways. It's not tracking Bitcoin's price basically at all. But Bitcoin has appreciated today, and the share price has actually gone down today. So it's not really tracking with Bitcoin. It's its own small cap penny stock. And the thing is, right, is like institutions are going to see this. They're going to see this press release. They're not going to jump into a stock like this. Institutions see this company and say, this is on the venture fund of a Toronto Stock Exchange. It's an extremely small company. It hasn't proved itself in any way. It probably doesn't have any income. It's living off of investment from venture funds, and we'll see. Like they some institutions might have funds for like small cap, like micro caps like this, but most are just seeing this and saying, I don't care that this has added $4.5 million of Bitcoin. That's nothing. And this company hasn't proved itself, so I'm not buying it. When a company like this, or, like this, right? I'm not saying Mata is this. I'm saying this is an example, and other companies could jump on the bandwagon of adopting Bitcoin for retail attention. Retail doesn't necessarily know that buying penny stocks is extremely risky. I mean, some do, of course, but they're the ones that are going to say, oh, this new company just bought Bitcoin. They're going to be the next Semler. They're going to be the next MicroStrategy to some degree. So I'm going to just buy a little bit of it. I'm going to put a little bit of capital to it. And then you might see that in certain circumstances, insiders might sell into that retail frenzy that gets initiated by news of Bitcoin being bought. So there can be some synergistic connections. And once again, I will make this connection with Matador, and I'm not saying anything disparaging against the people that I'll be talking about here. And in fact, many of them have done amazing things for the Bitcoin space, and they really have. And I'm not saying that these people are tricking retail in any way, but I could see a scenario where companies could, like venture funds, could fund really small public companies and tell them basically these funds are for buying Bitcoin. We also own or are affiliated with a news corporation that will publish this, or we have some connection, we have some ability to get some news traction on this so that your price will appreciate and we can make off with those gains. Matador, it's very interesting, right? If we look at this news article, I said UTXO management has funded them. If we go to UTXO management, we see here some of the people of UTXO management. And David Bailey is actually the CEO of Bitcoin Magazine. And on the 23rd, what did I say here? Bitcoin Magazine published a news article about Matador adopting Bitcoin. And that was the same trading day, or the next trading day. I guess the 23rd was, let's see, the 23rd was a Monday. It wasn't trading on the 23rd, though, when that news was released. Upon open on the 24th, it skyrocketed up to 90 cents on that news, no doubt. And basically, it looks like being like a new IPO, although I'm confused by this old trading data here. There was a stock split. It seemed like it was trading in May 2023. If someone can explain this to me, I'm not entirely sure why it has this history and then not trading. Maybe it got delisted and then it got relisted. That's maybe my guess there. However, it skyrocketed up and then fell back down to basically this lower part of its opening price. So a bad actor in the space, a capital fund manager, that they could create strategic Bitcoin reserve public companies, small cap ones, partner with news articles, influencers, and pump these stocks, these penny stocks, and create huge amounts of gains in a low volume, low liquidity company that doesn't really have any actual future, and they could sell into that frenzy. It's a possibility. So I'm not saying Mata is that. I am just saying beware of that into the future, because we have seen so much gains from companies adopting Bitcoin that this is inevitably going to happen. This is the first one that I've seen that looks a little sus. And I will just say that, right? And hopefully Matador goes on to do great things. Hopefully the investors that buy into it. I mean, UTXO management, they have a big position in this, so they of course want it to do well. They're not just selling out their position, right? Like they want this to do well. So that's that, right? That's all I'm saying about that. So let's look at what Matador actually does. They want to put gold on a blockchain, which has been tried before. It's maybe a tokenization of a real world asset in some way. They haven't actually done this. They have a light paper where they talk about creating an NFT that tracks gold and then is attached to physical gold, and you can use the NFT to, I guess, I don't know. I'm not even going to bother reading that. They have a Bitcoin product launch pad, which is just basically them holding Bitcoin on their balance sheet, right? The ecosystem here, right? They have 3 different things they're doing. They are holding Bitcoin on their balance sheet. They're building products on top of Bitcoin, and they have a Bitcoin ecosystem partnership, whatever that means. They want to increase Bitcoin yield with adding Bitcoin to their treasury, limiting shareholder dilution. So they've kind of taken aim at the MicroStrategy strategy. I mean, I hope it goes well for Matador technology investors. And I just want people to look at this as an example of how there could be companies that literally have nothing behind them except for investment money that has bought publicity and Bitcoin and is tricking retail into buying and holding their shares, which increases value of their company. The best thing to do, of course, is to actually buy Bitcoin itself, not to buy these proxies. Even MicroStrategy, even Sandler, even Metaplanet, they outperform, or they have, and that's great. And if you want to play them, if you have them in registered accounts, that's awesome. Bitcoin itself has properties that those do not. It is void of counterparty risk if you hold it yourself. So that's what I'm a proponent of. I'm a proponent of self-storage, self-sovereign Bitcoin. Holding your own private keys, being the one in control of being able to transfer that value to a different part of the blockchain. This kind of stuff I would be cautious of, and I would really use this as an example into the future of being cautious of any new companies that are announcing a Bitcoin strategic reserve. Don't just buy a company because of that. Buy a company because of their future earnings. And if they put those earnings into Bitcoin, of course, that's going to benefit them and grow them as a company. And to me, I'm only invested in companies that hold Bitcoin and use their earnings to put it into Bitcoin, because that's all I value. I don't value the fiat that Apple holds unless they convert it into Bitcoin, right? So there's a little bit of you kind of need to look at these things, just putting Bitcoin on your balance sheet doesn't give a company value. It has to be combined with the business plan of that company, right? We have to value businesses for their future potential. So once again, I'm not saying anything negative about Mata. I'm just using it as an example of what I will see into the future of companies not necessarily having that much value and just having VC funding. And I'm not saying anything disparaging about UTX Management and Bitcoin Magazine. I think they do great work. I'm sure they've invested in some great companies. Maybe Matador will be one of them, and I hope them all well. And I hope this video has been informative. If there's something I've missed here, if there's something you want some clarity on, comment that in the comment section, and I'll see you on the next video.